on Sun Valley. Daily local news from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho.
Hi, I'm Karen Bosick with Eye on Sun Valley. I'm here today with John Lundeen, who is an attorney by trade, but in the last several years, John has become very much a historian, delving into every nook and cranny of Sun Valley. In fact, John just recently published his award-winning Early Skiing on Snoqualmie Pass, which I understand is the bestseller at Chapter 1 bookstore in Ketchum because of all the Seattle people buying it. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a very interesting part of Sun Valley's beginnings. We've all heard the name Averill Harriman, the Union Pacific man who basically started Sun Valley Resort, Count Felix Schotgotch, who helped him find the right place for the Sun Valley Resort. But John contends there's another couple who, without them, Sun Valley would have never happened. Who are those people, John?
Well, Karen, that would be Robert Strahorn and his wife, Carrie Dale Strahorn. And the theme of my talk that I'll be giving at the Haley Library in July will be that there are two people, as you say, responsible for Sun Valley being here. One was Averill Harriman, who was chairman of the board of Union Pacific Railroad, and in 1936 built Sun Valley not as a standalone ski resort, but as an adjunct of the railroad to try to rebuild the passenger business that had been decimated by the Depression. And of course, one of the criteria when he sent the count out to scout for locations, it had to be served by Union Pacific. So the person who was responsible for bringing the Union Pacific Railroad in here in 1883 was Robert Strahorn and his wife. They were
That's a good 50 years ahead of the time Sun Valley Resort was built.
Well, many, many years. And of course, the attraction in those days was the Silver Strike. And Strahorn has a very interesting background. He was born in Pennsylvania, trained as a typesetter to work in the newspaper and publication business. Was in bad health, so he came west for a better climate. Ended up, he probably had tuberculosis, and worked in Denver, and then became a roving reporter associated with General Crooks during the Sioux Wars of 1876. And he was a journalist embedded with General Crooks, his cavalry unit, and they had the rather disgraceful job of trying to round up the Sioux Indian people who were in the area that was given to them by the federal government by the Treaty of 1868. But once gold was found in the Black Hills of Dakota, the federal government reneged on its promise, and they were rounding up all the free Sioux to put them in reservations. And the ones that didn't want to go, they were attacked by General Crooks, usually in the morning. He would ride into their encampments and start killing people right and left, men, women, children. And that was an unfortunate part of our history. But Strahorn was there as a journalist and covered it and made quite a national reputation. He was reporting for newspapers in Chicago and New York and other places. And because of that work, he became well known in Wyoming. He started out, his first publication was basically the economic potential of the territory of Wyoming. And in the middle of all this, he met this very interesting woman from Chicago, the Chicago area, and fell in love with her. They had a long-distance relationship, and she was quite enamored with this Indian fighter and journalist. She was a graduate of the University of Michigan, very cultured person, came from a wealthy family. Her father was a doctor, and there were not many women who were college educated in those days, but she was one of them. And on his way to Chicago from Wyoming, he had been offered the job of a territorial secretary for the territory of Wyoming. And he met the ticket agent for the Union Pacific Railroad on his way back, showed him his first book on the economic potential of Wyoming, the ticket agent contacted people higher up in Union Pacific, particularly Jay Gould, who was an outside financier but controlled Union Pacific in those days. And Gould,
kind of a robber baron,
he
right?
was known as absolutely the classic robber baron, and he did all the illegal things that people developing railroads did in those days. It's a fascinating history. But Gould had his eye on the West. Ever since the Transcontinental Railroad was finished in 1869, Union Pacific wanted a connection to the Northwest. Trade was booming, the Willamette Valley was booming, Puget Sound was booming, and Northern Pacific was building a route from the Midwest out to Puget Sound. And he knew if Northern Pacific got there first, they would take a lot of the economy away from Union Pacific. So he had his eye on Western expansion. The first thing he did in 1878 was to buy from the Mormons what was called the Utah Northern Railroad. That went from Ogden up to Franklin, Idaho, which was in southeastern Idaho. When that was built, Brigham Young thought it was actually in Utah. That's why he built it there. But it went bankrupt in the 1870s, and the electrical era was just coming in. Edison was inventing his light bulbs and everything else. And they had just discovered copper in Butte, Montana. So Gould bought Utah Northern and finished it from Franklin, Idaho up to Butte. And that gave him access to all the copper from Butte that was a critical part of the electrical age that was just coming.
Okay. We're going to have to take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm Derek Agnew, General Manager of Zenergy Health Club and Spa, and I want to take you inside and show you what we've done with our new Pivot Studio, which is going to blow you away. The therapists tell me that Pivot really is the game changer. It fills that final gap that we were missing at Zenergy, things they could not do in our main gym.
The recent addition of the Pivot Studio has meant wonders to me as a physical therapist. I can now take care of the most vulnerable post-operative patient, but I can include programming that challenges the most elite athlete.
Are you tired of being tired? Wouldn't you like to have more energy and not be so run down? Hi, I'm Dr. John Calvert with Sun Valley Smile Designs and Dental Sleep Health. That's right, a dentist who treats sleep breathing disorders and sleep apnea. You may be one of the millions of people that suffer from sleep apnea, depriving you of the quality of sleep that you need. You may not be aware of the serious physical problems with untreated sleep apnea. High blood pressure, diabetes, and stroke are just a few. For those of you that have sleep apnea but are just not able to tolerate your CPAP unit, there is help right here in Ketchum. I have over 17 years of advanced training in sleep health, and I can treat your sleep apnea, including annoying snoring, from beginning diagnosis all the way through treatment. No need to travel hours away for overnight sleep studies. I'll provide you with a complimentary, complete computer airway evaluation and consultation. Give my office a call and I can help you feel more rested and have more energy. Sleep well, live well. Come see us at Sun Valley Smile Designs and Sun Valley Sleep Health.
No matter your taste or personal style, the shopping in Sun Valley has what you need for a day in the mountains or elegant night on the town. From bike sales, rentals, repair, outdoor accessories, and souvenirs to high-end, on-trend fashion and sportwear, including a hip, modern women's boutique, there is something for everyone in the Sun Valley Village. Don't forget about the kids, as stepping foot in the toy store is a dream come true for the little ones. The Sun Valley Village shopping options blend a touch of European style with Main Street USA hospitality, all in a charming mountain town setting.
Are you like me and can't stand paying your insurance bill? Just when you pay all your bills for the month, then along comes that dreaded insurance bill, putting the hurt on your checking account. Hello, I'm Mark Balkos, president of Wood River Insurance. That's why Wood River Insurance is an independent insurance agency. This means we have a multiple of insurance companies we offer to our clients. This allows us to hold the insurance companies accountable for coverage, service, and most important of all, pricing. When I started in this business 33 years ago, I only represented one company to my customers. And after a while, I felt as though my hands were tied when trying to be as competitive as I could. As an independent insurance agency, we represent you to the insurance company, not the insurance company to you. This allows Wood River Insurance to be as competitive as possible. So call us today at 208-788-1100 and let Wood River Insurance represent you.
Welcome back. We're learning the story of how Sun Valley came to be. So how did Robert Strahorn figure into all of this?
Well, Karen, the next thing that Jay Gould did, he really wanted to build his Northwest connection from the main line of Union Pacific to Portland. He knew there was huge economic potential out there, and he wanted to jump the gun on the Northern Pacific. So he hired Robert Strahorn, literally on the train on his way to get married, and hired him as a publicist for the Union Pacific Railroad. And he hired him, he and his wife, to tour the Northwest, to write stories about the economic potential. He wrote a whole series of promotional materials on several states, including Idaho, showing the mining, agriculture, timber, and huge potential. And he and Carrie Adele, starting in 1877, traveled throughout the West Coast, mainly in the Northwest. And their job was twofold. One, to create publicity for the economic potential there, and secondly, to scout out the best route for the railroad. And they did that. And Robert spent his time writing these rather dry economic analysis of the area. But Carrie Adele, who was quite well educated and a wonderful writer, she wrote a series of articles for women's magazines in the Midwest and East. And she gave the personal side of what life was like in the Northwest in those days, what it was like to travel by stagecoach, enduring all the hardships. And there wasn't much out here in those days. It was beyond some mining and initial agriculture. It was a barren country.
I'm surprised people allowed her to accompany her husband by stagecoach.
Well, initially, Union Pacific didn't want her to go. They thought that she was too cultured a woman to go on a trip like this, and they thought it was far too dangerous. But Robert put his foot down and said, if my wife doesn't come, I don't go. So they relented. They gave both of them passes there so they could travel for free anywhere the railroad went.
And what were a couple of the adventures they had traveling by stagecoach?
Well, they had many, many adventures, from potential Indian attacks to runaway stagecoaches to riding on the front of a railroad train, an engine of pulling a train, going over the largest railroad bridge in the West. And they're riding on the cowcatcher because Robert thought that would be an interesting thing to do. They went down into mines, several thousand feet down below the surface. So they did it all. Everything that was happening in the West, they did.
And she went right alongside him.
She was right alongside him. She called him Pard for partner. And their whole relationship was a partnership. And they saw it all together. And I might mention that she wrote one of the best books about early life in the West. It's called 15,000 Miles by Stage. It was published in 1911 and became an immediate bestseller and is terrific. There's some wonderful illustrations in there and pictures, and that was republished by the University of Nebraska Press in 1964. So you can actually, the originals are worth quite a bit of money, but you can buy a 2-volume set of paperback on the used book market. And I certainly recommend it for all people who are interested in Idaho history and early Western history.
Okay. So tell me more about their connection to Haley, Sun Valley.
Well, they fell in love with the Wood River Valley. They came here several times, and they were here when silver was first discovered. And they saw that the Wood River Valley, that was the largest silver strike in the 1880s. It happened actually in 1880. But it ultimately became the largest silver producing area in the country in the 1880s. And transportation was a critical thing for all mining areas. And Robert decided that he wanted to push Union Pacific to build a branch in here. In 1881, Jay Gould had decided to actually go ahead and build his connection to Portland. And they couldn't actually build it under the original charter that Union Pacific got in 1862 from Congress. So they had to incorporate a subsidiary, which they did in Wyoming, and its job was to build the shortest route to Oregon, so it was called the Oregon Short Line. And they started in 1881 from Granger, Wyoming, which was on the main line, started building west toward Portland. And Strahorn, one of his great contributions was to convince Gould to build a spur line in here. So in 1882, when the railroad reached Shoshone, they started building in here and put resources that would otherwise push it to the west to build it in here. And it transformed the Wood River Valley when it came here. It opened Wood River Valley to the outside world. It made transportation quick and cheap. It brought in large amounts of outside capital and caused a huge economic boom here in the Wood River Valley.
Okay. I want to hear more, but we got to take a break right now. We'll be back.
I remember going to the doctor when I was a kid. He knew me, I knew him. It was really simple. And then medicine changed with more expensive labs, medications, bigger clinics, and not enough time to explain it all.
Direct primary care came along, outside the insurance system and affordable. I'm Dr. Tom Archie. At InnerHealth MD, we spend the time we need building collaborative relationships. We bypass the insurance, lab, and pharmaceutical industries and pass on the savings to our patients. At our office, common labs can cost $5 to $10, and in our pharmacy, generic prescriptions often cost less than $5. Our family practice treats fractures, lacerations, and sports injuries, teaches prevention, and coordinates acute and chronic care. We don't accept insurance. Our patients pay a monthly fee that is less than a cable bill. With acupuncture, herbs, Class 4 cold laser, and a holistic, functional medicine approach, InnerHealth MD is family medicine like it used to be. Affordable, personal, and looking to the future.
As a family, we've been with Harrison over 20 years. So this business is really unique to Insure because we have employee housing here in the light industrial, and we have all these moving pieces. We have the car wash, we have a detailed garage where we're bringing in, over the course of a month, we can see 1 million to 2 million in vehicles pass through our garage. Nathan has been, his phone line is always open to me, and that's been huge. It's a real personal relationship. I pick up the phone and call him, and he's always there, ready to answer my questions. He's really quick with getting back to me. We have a complex insurance needs, insuring these are kind of considered hazardous sites. They require special coverage because they're gas stations. And he's been able to navigate that from personal business through and through. So Harrison Insurance was instrumental in getting us good, being well covered at a good cost basis, All of these pieces need to be considered, and when I've got my back turned and I'm focused on the business and the people and the aspects of the business, it's nice for me to offload this responsibility, which is a big one, to make sure that all my bases are covered. I need to know that if something happens, if a plane crashes into the lands short of the runway and lands on the business, that we're going to be covered. And with Harrison Insurance, I'm confident that they've got my back and that they've set me up for success.
Harrison Insurance, for all of your insurance needs. Sterling Urgent Care is now open at 507 South Main Street in Haley. Sterling Urgent Care is helping create a better healthcare experience. All patients are welcome. They accept most major insurances, including Medicare and Medicaid. They also accept self-pay patients and offer a membership program to help you take control of your healthcare costs. Sterling Urgent Care invites you to visit them at their beautiful new facility in Haley. Or learn more at sterlingurgentcare.com. Healthcare created with you in mind.
Welcome to Pure Body Bliss, your home in Haley for extraordinary movement training. Pilates, yoga, and fusion classes, as well as incredible massage. We specialize in private and semi-private sessions, dynamic group classes, and exceptional massage techniques to both realign and relax. At Pure Body Bliss, we have something for everyone, including restorative yoga, core-focused Pilates, and our studio-exclusive high-intensity burn classes, just to name a few. All taught by patient and highly educated professionals with thousands of hours of teaching experience. Have fun, work hard, sweat, then relax, restore, and rejuvenate, all in one beautiful setting. Solidify your resolutions with our complete unlimited membership. At Pure Body Bliss, we love your body.
Better food, better price, better service. Atkinson's Market, supporting local farmers since 1956.
Thank you for joining us again. We just heard how Robert Strahorn was responsible for getting the spur line that would ultimately allow Averell Harriman to build Sun Valley Resort in 1936. What else did Robert Strahorn do for the Wood River Valley?
Well, Karen, he has a very interesting and mixed history. The major thing he did next was he and some other Union Pacific insiders formed a company called the Idaho and Oregon Land Improvement Company. Uh-huh. They knew the route that the Union Pacific would follow, the Oregon Short Line, and they knew where the stops would be. Mm-hmm. So they bought, among other things, worthless desert land, knowing there'd be a stop there, basically for nothing. Then they would plant cities, build infrastructure, and make enormous profits selling the money to settlers who came. As part of that, knowing that the Union Pacific was going to come in here, his company bought the town site of Shoshone and the town site of Haley. Now, Haley had been formed by John Haley earlier under the Desert Land Act, but he had gotten a patent or title to the land. So Strahorn's company bought it from Haley and his associates and basically built Haley into the town it is. He brought irrigation land to irrigate the area around it. He brought water into the land, and he basically built the company. He helped build the first electrical system there, helped build the Alturas Hotel, which is a big place to stay, and the Haley Hot Springs Resort, which is out in Croy Canyon.
The important things.
And the key here is that he brought the railroad in, and Harriman never would have looked at this area except for Strahorn's railroad that came in. However, there's a twist to that story too, because he owned the town site of Haley. Haley was going to be the terminus of the Wood River branch, and he said that would make Haley the Denver of Idaho. No plans to extend it further north. The problem was for him that the Philadelphia smelter was located north of Ketchum. It smelted virtually all the ore that was mined in the Wood River Valley around here. It was the biggest customer, and it wanted an extension north. So there was a battle, an inside battle between the economic forces of Strahorn and the Philadelphia smelter. The smelter ultimately won, and in 1884 they extended the line from Haley up here. Although it never was intended to go to Ketchum. The smelter was actually north and outside of the city of Ketchum, but the railroad went right into it.
Now, for those who might not be familiar, the Philadelphia smelter was located near the mouth of what we now call Warm Spring?
Exactly. It was right across from where the YMCA is now. It was on the west side of the river. However, they owned 1,000 acres on the east side of the river where the industrial area is now. And that was actually incorporated into Ketchum in 1884. It's called the Rhodes Edition. And that really gave the full economic boom to the Wood River Valley.
And so the railroad came all the way up to the area around the YMCA.
The depot was just north of where the YMCA is now, in the developed area there.
And that's why we have the beautiful bike path now on the railroad line.
Exactly. And Strahorn went on to develop a lot of other cities and towns in Idaho, best known for Caldwell, that was just a total desert, and he built it up himself. And there were 5 or 6 other railroad towns, all on the Oregon Short Line route, for which he's responsible. And again, he was trading on inside information, which would be illegal in these days. But back in the 1880s, there weren't antitrust laws, there were no securities laws, and people could do pretty much what they wanted to, and they did in the railroad industry. And Strahorn actually left here in 1888 and ventured further out, stayed in the railroad business generally. He first went to Washington when the Northern Pacific was being built, and he thought that the terminus of the Union Pacific would be Fairhaven, Washington, which is right by Bellingham. So he built up, did some land development there and invested a lot of money, but he got fooled because the terminus ended up to be Tacoma, Washington. So he lost a lot of money. And he went to Boston and brokered bonds after that, and then came back to Spokane in the early 1900s. It was a thriving railroad town. There were several railroads going through, including Northern Pacific. Canadian Pacific came down, and he spent the next couple decades of his life developing railroads in Washington and Oregon. And he was financed initially by E.H. Harriman, who after Union Pacific and all the other railroads went into bankruptcy in the Silver Depression of the 1890s, E.H. Harriman bought Union Pacific out of bankruptcy and rebuilt it, and was Strahorn's financial angel to develop railroads in Washington and Oregon, which he did.
And then Averill came along, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. When Averill wanted a ski area, the one thing it had to have had to be served by Union Pacific.
Because the idea was
to build,
get people to use the trains.
The whole idea wasn't to build a ski area, it was to build something that would attract people to take the trains. And if Strahorn had not convinced Union Pacific to build it in here, we wouldn't be sitting here today in Sun Valley, Idaho, talking about this.
All right. Well, that's another story. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
And you will hear that story in my next book that's coming out this fall, which is Sun Valley, Early Years under the Union Pacific Railroad.
We can't wait. Thank you for joining us. I hope you learned a thing or two today. Until the next time, I'm Karen Bosick with Eye on Sun Valley, and I'm keeping my eye on Sun Valley for you.
Eye on Sun Valley, daily local news from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho.
Better food, better price, better service. Atkinson's Market, supporting local farmers since 1956.
Hi, I'm Anita Northwood. I live here in the Sun Valley area, and I have been inspired to create Silver Creek Assisted Living for your family. I'm inspired by my family, and we hope you will all come and take a tour of this place and understand that this is the place where your loved one should be. This is what brings us all joy and what we're the best at. Your family is our family, so come join us. Silver Creek Living is a wonderful place. It's not just about compassionate senior care. It is the best place for you to bring your loved one. We provide a beautiful environment where your family is our family. We have great food, fun activities, lots of entertainment. You can socialize with their peers, bring your family, and yet feel that you're in a beautiful, safe environment, while you can still have fun while knowing that you're well taken care of with the best of care. This could be the next best chapter in your family member's life.
I moved out to Idaho 4 years ago, so I met a lot of people and I really, really like it here. In New York, I was always sort of introverted. When I came out here, that no longer was me. I became extroverted because the people here are so friendly and warm. You know, if you don't have something like that that brings you into other people's lives, it takes a long time to get to know people.
La Cabanita Mex, dubbed by the locals as authentic, tasty Mexican food and drinks with a festive atmosphere. And a pretty darn good sports bar too. Big screens all over. La Cabanita prides itself on their Authentica Cocina Mexicana. Good food, very fast service, and delicious house recipes with those special Mexican spices. La Cabanita Mex, serving lunches, dinners, catering, company parties, and takeout. Ketchum and Bellevue. La Cabanita Mex.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Can I get a make my day?
this hardwood? All for a good cause. I'm Michael David with Eye on Sun Valley Sports, coming to you from the gym at Wood River High School with all my donkey friends, where tonight it's the donkey basketball benefit for the Senior Bash. Check out this action, maybe some interviews with the players and a donkey or two after the game. I'm down on the hardwood at the donkey basketball, and I'm joined by Tony Markroft. Tony's on the committee for the Senior Bash. Tell us about this fundraiser and what it means for the Senior Bash.
Well, what it is, it's to keep our kids, our seniors, safe and sober to celebrate their night of celebration.
Right. It's an amazing evening for them, and that is the main purpose for it, but also for the kids to have fun. A ton of work goes into putting this thing on.
There is a ton of work, and it takes a lot of the community donations and parents, volunteers. It's about $150 per kid to put on the Senior Bash.
And so the fundraising subsidizes that, so the kids don't have to come up with $150.
Right. Yes, we do ask that they donate or they pay $35 for their bash ticket.
Right. And this is open to not just the Wood River High School seniors, right? This is the seniors around the community as well are invited to come too.
Yes, that's correct. There's 5 different schools that are invited to go.
All right. Hey, I'm joined by Annie Oakley, Sombrero, Haley Bjorkman, Isaac Loomis, Christian Bothwell. What an event. Haley, what do you have to say about this donkey basketball?
It was super fun. It was just a great time, something different to do. But yeah, it was a great time.
Now, Isaac, you're not on a donkey now, and you had a little difficulty staying on. What happened out there?
My donkey, Gerald, he's a good donkey, but he didn't like me that much. But we had a good bond because I think we were the leading scorers. So.
Oh yeah.
Right, but you got bucked.
Oh yeah. He took my life almost twice. But he's a good donkey. Gerald's a good donkey.
Christian, you're known for your defense when you weren't riding a donkey. How was it out there?
It was a lot of fun. We went out. We almost caught the dub, but it was a good time. We got some good balls in.
So what do you think? A successful career co-starring with Shrek, and now you're doing high school donkey basketball games. What do you have to say? Nothing? Haley, this is a fundraiser for the Senior Bash. Talk a little bit about what the Senior Bash is.
So for Senior Bash, it's a big party we kind of throw after graduation for all the seniors in the valley, and we play lots of games, we win prizes, and it's supposed to be a super fun time, so we're all excited for that.
Right, and there's a lot of fundraising that goes on, but it's definitely fundraising. Well, thanks you guys. Thanks to Donkeys for not being stubborn about this. I'm Michael David with Eye on Sun Valley Sports, keeping my eye on the Donkeys in Wood River. Sports for you.
Eye on Sun Valley, daily local news from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho.
Better food, better price, better service. Atkinson's Market, supporting local farmers since 1956.
La Cabanita Mex, dubbed by the locals as authentic, tasty Mexican food and drinks with a festive atmosphere. And a pretty darn good sports bar too. Big screens all over. La Cabanita prides itself on their authentica cocina mexicana. Good food, very fast service, and delicious house recipes. Those special Mexican spices. La Cabanita Mex, serving lunches, dinners, catering, company parties, and takeout. Ketchum and Bellevue. La Cabanita Mex.
My name is Keith Perry, and my wife Paul and I are the owners of Perry's Restaurant, operating here since 1985, and we've grown to become a local institution here.
We make almost everything from scratch, including all our muffins, our cookies, our salad dressings. Everything is made to order.
Perry's is open daily at 7 a.m., serving hearty breakfasts and made-to-order sandwiches, salads, soups, and premium beer and wine.
I'm Karen Bosick with Iron Sun Valley, and what you're seeing is a self-defense technique called Krav Maga. The advocates in the Wood River Valley offer it twice a year, free of charge to the community. Let's check it out. Tracy, you've taught Krav Maga 10 years now, and I understand it means contact combat. Can you tell me how it got started?
Yes, Krav Maga was started in Israel by a man named Amy Lichtenfield, and it was designed as a self-defense system to be taught to the average person, and for that average person to become proficient in a short period of time.
Okay, and what is the gist of it?
Krav Maga is self-defense, plain and simple. It's dirty fighting, it's fast, meant to get you home safe from any violent encounter.
Okay, and so your primary focus is young women and...
Actually, no, I teach everybody, law enforcement, military personnel, women, children, men, yes.
Wow,
Self-defense is for everybody.
And what might be like one or two simple moves?
Well, I mean, the bread and butter of Krav Maga is to defend and counterattack as close to simultaneously as possible. So whichever situation you find yourself in, you want to do those two things at the same time when it's possible. A very common attack is a bear hug. If you want to bear hug me, I can show you how to get out of that.
Okay.
All right, so if you bear hug me from behind, my arms are free. I'm going to face and base, drop my weight, throw combatives to the body, and then turn and finish with followed-up combatives, straight punches, knees, etc. to get out of the fight.
I got it. Daryl Harris, you're the social change coordinator for the Advocates. Tell people what the Advocates is.
We're an agency that helps victims of domestic violence and sexual assault.
Okay.
We have a shelter in town, we have education services, we have transitional housing, we have a lot of programs we're running to support victims.
Okay. And this, of course, is one event that you offer free of charge.
Yes.
Twice a year, April and October. And why do you do that?
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And every time we offer the class, what I see is young women and older women walking out feeling stronger, feeling more confident, feeling empowered. So it's worth it. I love having this class.
Yeah, it's fun to see because I think I've seen it 3 times now, and every time it's like, you know, you get young teenagers to older women. all walks of life, secretaries,
Yes.
CEOs, lawyers, the whole works. I remember you even put a hole through the wall at the library one time, but
yes, we
maybe
did.
that's what precipitated the big remodeling project.
It's a tough class. It's a tough class, and it's a hard workout.
I still have to get her the rest of the way off me, and so I will bridge again, and then this is where I throw some punches, strike with the groin, and let's go party time! Here, I go, boom! My arms come down, and I bridge. Everybody lay down with your head that way, your feet this way, and just do it without a person on top.
Now, McLean, you're a senior lieutenant with the Ketchum Fire Department and a paramedic. What prompted you to come out today?
Well, I've always wanted to try Krav Maga, and I've never had an opportunity. The fact that they made this free and available on a day I wasn't on shift was excellent, and it was a great opportunity for me. And also, everybody needs to know how to defend themselves.
What were a couple points that really fascinated or stood out to you today?
I think that it was nice having all of the techniques shown, demonstrated, and then you get to practice them, and you find that your muscle memory starts to really take hold, and you be able to use them under stress, because of course that's the issue here, is remembering it and using it under stress. So those techniques were really well explained and shown, and you got to practice them over and over again.
Okay.
Over enough so that I'm tired.
So just a couple hours of it, and you got some muscle memory, huh?
Yeah, made some difference there. It was really exceptional.
Was there anything that surprised you?
No, it didn't surprise me, but what I was, actually, I guess, I was happy to see the younger women here, because they're the ones who might need to learn how to know when to make a decision to do this, and then how to channel that and be aggressive enough to be safe and get away.
I hope you enjoyed all this high kicking, bear hugs, boom, 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 boom. If you want to try it, remember the Advocates offers Krav Maga twice a year, free of charge, April, October, and can't hurt to learn it. It's a blast. Everybody comes away feeling empowered, happy, had a workout. I'm Karen Bosick with Eye on Sun Valley. Until the next time, I'm keeping my eye on Sun Valley for you.
Eye on Sun Valley, daily local news from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho.
Better food, better price, better service. Atkinson's Market, supporting local farmers since 1956.
You just never know what kind of day someone's having.
If we don't get out of self and we don't look at the other person in the eyes or say hi or hello, we have no idea, what kind of impact that could have had for someone for that day.
It's kind of tragic. As we age, a person tends to isolate himself for one reason or another. When I applied for Meals on Wheels, I didn't realize what a wonderful service it really was. Socializing with all of the volunteers that come to visit, they're just doing it out of their good kindness, their good-heartedness, and it contributes to my nourishment and to my health.
We can be a community that looks after all our members. No one forgotten, no one alone, no one hungry.
How to help? What can I do? What can we do? If we want to make a difference, we have to get out there.
While I am theoretically here to help and give to other people, I always feel like I get so much more back.
The volunteers have wonderful insight in what makes elders happy. All the people here have such interesting lives and stories. We're not just elders here. And most of all, we don't feel isolated.
You feel good mentally by coming here.
Well, it's changed us. It's filled my heart, it's filled my life with so much activity.
I think we all long to be communal. We long to be cared for and loved, and that's what happens here. Aging doesn't discriminate. We're all gonna age. There's no way of getting around it. Our desire is that quality of life and love and family would be available to all members of our community. That's what we do. If not us, who? Someone once said to me a month or so ago, he said, people say Disneyland's the happiest place on earth. I think this place is the happiest place on earth.
That this is the most fabulous place to come. I'm 85 and I do not feel my age. And I think it's because of the senior connection.
We just keep each other moving.
It's like family. It's a gathering place. It's played a big part in my life.
This is what we do, and we can't do it without you.
Daily local news from beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho.